Now, before we do this, let's go over the ground rules. Rule number 1. No touching of the hair or face.
Of course.
And that's it!
You're listening to Off the Wall Radio with Big Al and HQ. A show about nothing. We got a lot of shit to say.
And we're back on November 27th, 2012. Big Al's coming on. I'm HQ. Another episode of Off the Wall Radio.
Yes.
And Big Al, I'm going to have to start with you because I just got done with that grueling session.
Yes.
Poker Stars.
That was a wonderful poker game, and you came out
victorious.
victorious. I'm very happy about that.
Big money.
Yeah, I was the first knockout, so I was not happy with that. But
Yeah, no, I felt bad for you too. I apologize, but I didn't knock you out, so I don't have to worry about it too much. So, what do you got on your mind tonight?
Sean Johnson, I have that on my mind.
Who's that? Isn't she like a...
She's that.
She's a swimmer?
She's that little Olympian girl who the gymnastics girl who's Dancing with Stars and all that.
Oh, I don't watch Dancing with the Stars. Do you watch that show?
No, I mean I've watched past episodes with my wife before, but I just was.
So it's kind of by proxy.
I was just flipping through the channels, but she's got those thick thighs, because she's a gymnast, and she's doing all that dancing, and I was just watching it, and yeah, she does it for
Marveling?
me. Yeah,
Marveling. Huh? I have thick thighs. Do you like my thick thighs, Big Al?
I don't plan on rubbing on them. There's too much hair there.
No. Well, I can shave. No big deal. No problem. So how was Dancing with the Stars? Was that tonight?
Listen, asshole, I didn't say I watched the show. I was flipping through the channels, and I saw...
No, you pretty much...
I saw Thunder Thighs going there, and I had to just go admire,
Excuse me.
For the love of God.
I know, I keep harking up these clams, man. I'm almost better, but man, it's been a rough couple of days sitting around doing nothing. Sit around the couch with my chimp in my hand because that was the only thing on my body that was warm.
How many times a day do you pick your nose? I'm just curious.
On average?
On average, yeah.
8.
8 times a day?
Yeah, it just happens, especially to and from work.
Just in the car?
Well, not just in the car, but mostly in the car. I'll try to sneak one sometimes watching TV. My wife's next to me. I'll try to sneak a little pick in there every now and then.
When you're in the car, do you flick it out the window? What do you do with it?
No, well, it depends on the consistency of the booger, see.
Uh-huh.
If necessary, if it's one of those real, one of those, you ever had those that kind of like stick to the nose bone? And it's kind of hard. It gets caught on your nail. You pull it, and then it's all stringy and wet, kind of like a clam.
Yeah, it comes out. Oyster. Yeah, and then when it comes out, it like wraps around your finger, and you're like, "What the fuck just happened here?" Yeah.
Well, those I hang my hand out the window so that the air can dry that phlegm up, and then I just kind of flick them off. Now, if the consistency is more like a paste, what I'll do is rub it up in a little ball and then just toss it out the window. And then there's always the standby. If I can't get that prick to come off my finger, I go to the glove box for the napkin, and I just go ahead and wipe it off and then dispense it.
I'll look for napkins. I'll look for receipts. I'll look for any piece of paper to wipe that shit on.
Oh, receipts. Here's another one too. If you got a can of pop or something in the car and it's empty, make sure it's always empty. Flick it right under that opening of the can. Yeah, great place for boogers. I had a guy I used to work with, speaking of boogers, that gave his sister-in-law 1 year for Christmas a mason jar full of his belly button lint. He'd been saving it up for like 2 or 3 years. And he had this
does he not like her?
Of his belly button lint. No, he can't stand her.
So he gave her his belly button lint.
Yeah, I guess it's worse than coal in the Polish heritage. Some people get coal in their stocking. Well, I guess Polacks like to give out their belly button lint. And, it's always got the hair, the belly hairs and everything entwined in the lint. And
I like Polish food, though.
I love Polish food. Good kielbasa, little sauerkraut.
Oh, gosh.
Fantastic. What about glumpies? You like glumpies?
What's a glumpi?
It's a, cabbage roll. Isn't that Polish?
I'm not for sure.
Cabbage roll. You never had a cabbage roll?
I've had a cabbage roll, but I don't know if it's Polish or not.
Well, okay. Do you like them?
Yeah, they're fine. They're wonderful.
Fantastic. What about the Polish people as a whole? What do you think about them?
I don't care for the whole ski, S-K-I. You know, I like to ski, but I don't like that at the end of a name.
I don't either. But every time I hear a name that ends in ski, what do you think? Polak.
Yeah, you think Polak, which
and I was always raised that Polacks were dumb Polacks, because you always had the dumb Polak jokes.
Well, those are exactly those are the jokes forever. You know, I don't know if that's any true, but I don't know. It's like Polish food and like Ukrainian food all kind of like blend in together. Because my wife, she's Ukrainian. And
she is.
Yeah, and oh my gosh,
I
love that stuff. Because
I didn't know that.
Like pierogies. You like pierogies?
Oh yeah, I love pierogies. Those are good.
Oh, the soup. They got beet soup and dill soup. The dill soup is just phenomenal. Oh.
Yeah. Well, I've never had that beet soup. I like beets, but
I like to beat it.
What do you think about? Yeah, I know that something's never changed. What do you think about this whole scandal going on in our military with this General Petraeus and this? Yeah.
Oh, good for him. Good for him. That's a hot piece of ass.
What was she thinking? If you looked at this guy lately, it's not like he's overly attractive. Was she attracted to the power? Is that what it was? His power?
Oh, absolutely, is part of it. You know, and then hopefully to sell the story and just become something bigger and better and whatever. You know, it's yeah. I mean, look, she's got.
Was he a Polak? Was she a Polak? Was one of them a Polak?
What's his last name? Petraeus? There's
Petraeus. Yeah. No, there's no ski there.
No, I don't think there's any Polish there. But I don't even know her name.
Do you have to have a ski? Do you have a ski in order for it to be a Polak?
You don't. No, it's not necessary. Just like you don't have to have an OV, and then your name to be Russian. Just 90% of them have that. That's all. Jerking off to beating off, you know.
Yeah. Jerking off to Beatnovsky. Well, that's very interesting.
You know, before I forget about it, we have to talk about a topic that one of our listeners, maybe our only listener, I'm not for sure, but Mr. Scott brought up, and that has to do with the Bagel Head fascination that is happening that started in Japan.
That is the most unbelievable thing in the world.
Yeah, you've had time to take a look at that?
Oh, yeah, I certainly have. It's ridiculous.
It's
now, you know, here's a culture of these Asians, right? I remember back, years ago, the big, how you always get these stupid emails from people, and I'm not going to mention names, but one gentleman that we work with in particular used to really like to send out these vulgar, disgusting emails.
Yeah.
That, you open them up and there it is. But the Asian women seem to have this fetish with being defecated on and in, as in their mouth. And isn't it ironic?
How's that
these
to do with Bagel Head?
Because these are the same freaks that are having this shit saline injected into their forehead so they can make it look like a bagel. There's something wrong with these people.
You know, it's the Japanese culture. I tell you what, it's like they feel like they have to push the
fucked
envelope.
Up.
Oh, excuse me. Oh.
Wow, you just stopped mid-sentence there. What'd you do? You up, Chuck?
No.
You okay?
No, I just had, it was a mid-belch.
You need the Heimlich?
Yeah, man, I said I wasn't going to drink tonight, and man, I'm like polishing them down.
Yeah, I said that too, but you know what? I'm actually on to some gin, which I haven't drank in years. But a friend of mine turned me on to these things called Gibsons. It's gin, vermouth, and cocktail onions with a little splash of the cocktail onion juice, and they're pretty damn good. I'm flying high right now. Let's go back to the Bagel Head, though. I don't want to lose sight of this because Scott mentioned that. You said his name was Scott, right?
Scott, yeah. He's a listener of ours, ex-coworker of mine.
Thanks for listening, Scott, and thanks for bringing up Bagel Head because I've opened my world to a whole new line of thinking. I never knew about Bagel Head. When I heard about Bagel Head, I thought I was going to Google it and it was going to be some guy with his dick stuck through a donut. I'll be real honest with you.
I had no idea what to expect. I thought that, I'm speechless. I'm still speechless about it. I'd rather walk in a toilet right now than talk about it.
It's just, So let's not talk about it too much, because really, I don't know what else we could say about this.
Well,
other than it's extremely strange.
So people inject saline in their fucking foreheads, and once you got that big bulge in there, let's push our thumb down in here to make it look like a bagel. Now, from what I understand, from what I read on that, it's not permanent.
No, it's not permanent. And from what I recall, if I saw this correctly in the video, that this injection process takes roughly 2 hours. Did I miss that? Is that right?
I didn't hear the exact amount of time, but that sounds close to accurate.
I mean, I know it's just saline, but wouldn't you think there could be some side effects from this?
Other than being ridiculed and being made fun of? Well, yeah. Well, I don't know. There could be some bruising, you'd think.
Oh, I mean, just watching that was pathetic to think that these people have nothing better to do with their day than to spend a couple hours at this freak's office to have something put on their forehead that looks like a bagel.
You ever check out MrSkin.com?
He was on the Riff this morning.
Yeah. See, you were listening too. Yeah.
The top 10 of 2012. There's a guy that's made himself a shitload of money just by watching movies.
I know, just by checking out nude women. Isn't it amazing? I'm glad you were listening to that too, because when I got to work, I had to click into MrSkin.com to check out the top 10. And the amazing thing was, I've actually seen, I think about half of them I had already saw. Like I saw the show or where it happened, and
very entertaining, that's for sure. So, I just came across something interesting, and this is something good to know for anybody that's listening, that's in the process of trying to find new employment or any employment. Ooh. 8 illegal interview questions to avoid.
All right, let's hear it. I'm ready for this. I got the answer.
Okay, you ready? Number 1. Now, again, these are 8 illegal interview questions.
They're illegal to ask.
Illegal.
Yep. What's your sexual preference?
No, I'm going in order here.
Okay.
Do you have kids? Apparently,
that's illegal.
An illegal interview question.
That's illegal to ask.
Well, according to Xfinity Finance, questions about pregnancy, children, and medical conditions related to giving birth are prohibited under federal law, according to the U.S. Equal Opportunity Employment Commission. Do you have kids?
Interesting. Okay.
Next, I've never been asked this one. Didn't I see you at church last week? Religious questions protected under federal law also.
Okay, so I mean, you could ask any question. It's like, so you can't ask somebody if they're Christian or Jewish or Hindu or anything.
Correct.
Okay, yeah.
That's correct. Yeah. So, do you play any sports? Is also an illegal question to ask.
Really? Oh, I see. Because let's say if you get injured, something like playing softball or whatever. Yeah. Okay. All right.
I don't know what the fuck the reason is, but it's illegal.
I get the reason. I get it.
Yeah, okay. All right, so listen to this one. You have an accent. Where are you from? Doesn't matter where you're from. Your last name is Park. Is that Korean? So what are you saying? We don't hire gooks. Cannot ask, if somebody was in the military, you cannot not ask them if they were honorably discharged. Interesting.
That's illegal to ask them that.
That's correct. You cannot ask their age.
Now here's a good question
your age
though.
Is on the,
if I'm in the fucking interview, and they ask me one of these illegal questions, do I call the popo and have them arrested?
Right then and there. Yep.
That's the part I don't get here. I mean, do you just look at them and say, "All right, that's illegal for you to ask me that. You're breaking the law. You're going to jail."
Yeah. What are the chances you're going to get that job? And married, they can't ask if you're married.
I knew that. Yeah, I knew that.
Yeah.
And somewhere deep down, I knew the children thing. Yeah. I haven't interviewed in a long time, so I don't.
You know, that whole process, the interview process, is unbelievably it's rigorous. It's bullshit. I couldn't imagine having to interview for a real job, and by real job I mean with a real, big time company. It's got to be grueling.
Well, you and I talked about this before because of I forget where it was where you went interviewed, and it was kind of like a corporate kind of thing, and I did the same situation, and they don't want free-minded thinking people, and
that's correct.
I went into, and this one I was going back to school, or at least I was thinking of going back to school, and I was like, all right, I'm just going to start waiting tables somewhere, and I went to apply for like a waiter job at a fucking restaurant, and it was a corporate restaurant, and I had to sit down and fill out this questionnaire. I got halfway through this whole thing, and I went to the guy, and I'm like, are you serious about this? Don't you just want to ask me a few questions? He goes, well, you have to fill that out, and it goes to corporate. And I was like, oh, so you're not hiring anybody. It's somebody else who's doing it. And he goes, yeah. And I'm like, all right, well, I'm done. I'm out of here. Because...
yeah, see you later.
Yeah, because I'm not going to get hired. You want some fucking, like, lemming, or that's not the proper word. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, you want some derelict that you can mold to be exactly what you want.
Exactly.
And see, that's what happened to me. And I'll just give you the brief rundown. It was with a major player in the mortgage business. I took the online, what do they call those stupid things that you take the assessment of
survey,
what you're like?
No, not a survey.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell it's called. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It asks all these different questions to see what type of person you are.
Thing with the phenamostat and all that, yeah.
With the phenamostat and the deschiffer and all that stuff. And it was a two-hour process I had to go through on my computer at home. Went through this whole thing. Thought, well, that was a piece of cake. A couple days later, I get a call. Mr. I'm sorry, but you don't meet our qualifications. I said, oh, I'm sorry to hear that. I am surprised to hear that because with my background in sales, I just very surprised you say that. And he says, well, maybe another time. I said, well, before I hang up, I said, do me a favor. Tell me why I didn't make it. Tell me where I went wrong, because I spent 2 hours of my time taking this assessment test for you. He says, well, we really can't get into it. And I kept beating on him and beating him down. And finally he gave in and he says, all right, listen, I'm going to tell you. The whole problem was that your score came back, that you were able to work independently on your own, and you were structured at work. And I said, what's wrong with that? I said, oh, you're not looking for that type of person. You're looking for the young, just entering the job market that you can mold and make like little robots to be what you want them to be.
Exactly.
And he didn't say anything. He just said, well, I hope I've answered your questions, which was his way of saying, yeah. I mean, it was quite obvious that's what they're doing.
Well, it's hilarious because when I was at this place and filling out the thing, I knew the second it was like some of the questions they were asking, it's like, it's like, well, this is how I would do it, but I know that's not what they want to hear. For example, like something would come up, it's like, okay, you see a conflict between two employees. What would you do? A, try to resolve it yourself. B, get the manager on duty. C, write corporate, whatever. It's like, I know what they want you to put down.
Yeah.
Which is, don't do a fucking thing. Go get your manager instantly.
Right.
It's like, but I'm like, I'm going to do what I'm going to do. I'm going to take care of shit and get it all done.
That's right. Yep, I hear you.
Oh, it's hilarious. I just logged the beers that I'm going to drink.
Yeah? Tonight,
yeah. Not the ones I've consumed already. I've consumed, I've logged those, but I may as well add the next one.
Yeah, I don't see why not.
I still haven't shit today, man. I'm getting concerned about that.
Really? Yeah, you know what? How long has it been? Just today?
Yesterday and today. I'm going on 2 days.
Whoa. Is that normal for you?
It's not 100% uncommon. Depends on what I'm eating, you know? Like, when I'm eating greasy food and shit, you know, it flows through me pretty quickly, but ever since I've been doing this diet and eating less food, it's... Like, well, I told you I had that problem last week where it was just like, okay. And then when I did shit, it was a little disappointing, but...
Yeah, and I think that's to be expected, really. I mean, you're consuming a third of the calories that you typically would consume. So obviously you're not going to do tapers quite as often, right?
Yeah, true. Yeah.
You know, I'm reading here. A 407-pound woman was denied flights home, and she dies abroad. It says the death of a 407-pound woman after being denied boarding on 3 flights was preventable, according to an attorney from the woman's husband. Huh.
Wait a minute.
Interesting. She died of kidney failure on October 24th in, this is ironic, in Hungary.
So,
well, why wouldn't a 407-pound woman go anywhere but Hungary to vacation?
So wait a minute. They're saying that if she would have made that plane, she would have lived.
Well, it says that...
or at least that's what's being suggested by her husband. How much does he weigh? Is he 407, or is he like 150 pounds and he's a chub chaser?
Yeah, I'm sure he's probably a chubby chaser. It doesn't say, but she died.
Well, that's
Apparently
sad.
They didn't have room for it. You know what? It is sad. And I'll tell you what's sad is the weight of some of these people. It's what... Wow, what kind of mess do you have to be in mentally to let yourself get to that point? I mean, I'm looking at a picture over here, and it is sad. I feel very bad for her. But I don't know that you can sue.
How does a 407-pound person wipe their own ass? I mean, seriously.
They don't. I don't think they can. I don't think they can get back there to do that. Do you?
I don't know. I mean, do you have to instantly get in a shower afterwards? I mean...
I would. I mean, depending on the quality of my taper, I might get in the shower as it is, and I'm not 407 pounds or anywhere close to it.
You know, that's a good point right there. Yeah.
I've hopped in the shower after a nasty one. It happens.
Why is that the first thing I always think about whenever somebody mentions somebody who's really fat? It always comes down to wiping the ass.
How do they wipe their ass?
Well, I'm still confused on how a blind person knows when to stop wiping.
How what?
How does a blind person know when to stop wiping their ass?
Oh, wow.
I mean, seriously, think about that.
That's pretty thought-provoking.
I mean, you take a wipe. What's the first thing you do after you wipe? You look at it.
Well, yeah.
You look at the paper to see what you got.
But blind people have the sense of what's going on in their world around them, right? So I think don't you think after a certain point of doing that so often, being blind, you kind of get a feel for what it's supposed to feel like when you're all done?
Yeah.
Do they smell?
I'm telling you, you're telling me you haven't been fooled before? I've taken a clean wipe before and like nothing on the paper. Absolutely nothing. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to take a second go at that just to make sure. And all of a sudden it comes back all dirty.
Yep.
So,
or 2 hours later, but you can always tell when it comes back because you can feel it.
Oh, yeah, I get the swamp ass going on.
You know, here's one for you. Midgets. They have the short, stubby arms.
Yeah, yeah.
Can they even reach back there? Can they even get back to the butthole?
Well, they have to, right? I mean...
I don't know. I don't know that much about the midget population.
I don't know. That sounds like something I need to Google.
I think we ought to do a show on how... You know what? We need to do a show...
On how... on midgets in general?
Well...
Or strictly on wiping the ass?
No, we can do one certainly on midgets. And certainly on how different cultures or different types of people, maybe we broaden it to cultures too, wipe their butts. I mean, are you an up or down wiper? Are you from the taint to the spine, or from the spine to the taint?
Spine to taint.
Really?
I am.
I'm taint to spine. I'll be damned. See, I never knew this about you. Known you all this time, and we wipe in two totally different fashions.
I remember it was.
I'll tell you what. Next week.
It was in my early teenage years when I switched over because I used to be taint to spine, and
now, are you a fold over or wadded up, like a baseball mitt?
Well, a little of both.
Really? No. See, I just ball it up. Ball it up and go in there. Taint to spine.
It all depends on at which stage I'm at because of how messy it could be.
Now, do you do it the whole time sitting down, or do you incorporate the stand? Stand up.
I got to stand up and kind of squat.
I just pictured it. See, yeah, well, all right, you know what? I'm about to get sick. Well, I won't get sick, but... All right, so we've managed to, I don't even remember where we started this conversation at. But I know we're ending it with wiping our asses.
I believe we started off with, it really doesn't matter. I'm still trying to figure out why my basement is still decorated like Halloween, and it's Christmas time.
Well, because it's November 27th. And apparently you haven't been down there since Halloween.
No, I come down every once in a while.
Is this the first time you've noticed it?
No, I've noticed it. I just realized
Has your wife been down there?
She has, but I think she's waiting for me to do something about it.
Well, that's where I was going with this. You guys are playing the same game. I'm not touching it.
That's right.
She's playing the same game you are. Well, I'm not touching it. He'll take it down. And you're doing the same thing. I'm not touching it. She'll take it down. It'll be up there for another 6 months.
Yeah, well, until our next party. We usually have a Super Bowl party, so it'll be fixed by then.
Oh, good. Well, maybe some team with orange in their jerseys will make it to the Super Bowl, and then you'll just be able to half decorate the basement. You've got all that orange shit, orange and black. Right
about now, I wish I had like a little bottle to piss in right now. That'd be nice.
Wouldn't it, though? Yeah, well, that's fantastic. Right now, I need to blow my schnoz, because this damn, I don't know if you can tell or not, but the old sinuses are really congested. So, you know what? Let's do some Google searching on how pygmies wipe their ass. And we'll talk about it next time. Right